Dear respected teacher, dear Sangha, dear friends, can you hear me well? Can you hear me in KL? I don't see any response to that. Sister Connie, can you hear me? Aha, okay. So hello again, dear everybody, dear ones. I'm sitting here in my bedroom in Hanoi, bundled up. It's quite cold. This is the warmest room in the house for me. I have a little small heater, but I don't run it when I'm online because it makes a little noise. I entitled this talk, Looking with the Eyes of Love. And that came to me under a little pressure. Brother Ivan was asking, so what give us a title. And so that is what came up. And I have in front of me, and all around me actually, photos of Thai, our ancestral teacher, Thai. And as I was waiting to go online and looking at his photo, I remembered when I came with him and the monastic Sangha to Vietnam in 2005 for that 3-month teaching tour, his first time to return in almost 40 years of exile in France. And on that tour, a number of very unexpected things happened that involved me. Connections with Thai, and we celebrated Tet, Chinese New Year, in the Sangha that February. We were in Saigon, and it's a most wonderful ceremony, a most wonderful experience to be in the monastic Sangha at a practice center or with them on a tour during that holiday, because we have oracle readings, and it's quite auspicious. And so, as my luck, which I seemed to be very lucky on that trip, I happened to be in the right place at the right moment when the monastics stopped speaking Vietnamese, and Sister Chang Kong said, "We'll take a Westerner now." And someone pointed to me, and I found myself walking up to the altar and prostrating myself and putting my hand on the very large mindfulness bell, which contained little red envelopes with clippings in it from the patriarchs, usually two sentences. So a little bit like a fortune cookie. And I was invited, as everyone who did this, including monastics, invited to put a hand on the bell and see what came up. Just see what came up. Did we have a question for the patriarchs? And then they handed me a mic, and I found myself talking. And what I said was, essentially, the main part of it was, So now I was in Vietnam. Actually, I will share all of that. I said, because there were probably 500 Vietnamese people from the area were there, and people who were following the Sangha throughout Vietnam. I said that here I was, an American, and I understood that the people had suffered tremendously during the war and following the war. And I said, while you were suffering with your war, I too was suffering with my internal war in America. But now here we were together. And I said, I want to live here. So I was as surprised as anyone at this. I want to live here in Vietnam. I want to be a part of building the bridge between the East and the West. And everywhere I look here, I see love in the eyes of the people. I want to live here. And so that came up looking at Thai's photo from about that time. Looking with the eyes of love, I saw eyes of love. So my understanding is the love was out there because it was in here. I was seeing my own love reflected to me, as I'm sure people around me were also having that experience. I mean, we were traveling with the Sangha. So I suppose one of the main teachings there is the love that can arise, the feeling of safety and security and of loving and being loved as a opportunity to come up when we're with Sangha. So the importance of community. This is the year of the fire horse, which in your culture, in this culture, we appreciate the significance of that. And so I wasn't born knowing what the significance is, so I did a little research. And we're off to a good start for what the research tells us about the fire horse and the year of the fire horse. A very dynamic year. A year of a lot of change. A year of deep transformation. In fact, the phrase that jumped out is that we are galloping through the fire. We hang on to that horse and we are galloping through the fire. And of course, we just left or are leaving. For the Western calendar, we've already left it, and I feel it. We're leaving the year of the snake. I was born in the year of the snake. So what are we shedding? What are we leaving behind? So I already see in my own personal life a lot of change and deliberate change. And so this is not a year to this is not a year to, do you know that phrase, to hide our light under a bush? This is not a year to be shy. This is not a year to hold back. This is a year to step forward, step up, and step forward. There's unimaginable suffering going on the planet in so many places. I spent quite a bit of time with my daughter this morning, who lives on the east coast of the U.S. Saturday night for her. She was feeling, at first, she expressed anger. But it didn't take her long to say, I'm feeling sad. And we know that anger is a cover of protection for sadness, for grief, for fear. There are just horrific things happening in the U.S. right now, as there are in so many parts of the planet. But I happen to have those connections, you know. I come from there. I have friends there. I vote there. I have a home there, a family home. My relatives, my daughter, my son and daughter-in-law. It's a dangerous time. It's a dangerous time for all forms of life on the planet. Now, I don't want to just talk about doom and gloom, but it's time this year to be realistic, to really look at what is happening. And as I wrote to my daughter after she said she was feeling sad, I wrote to her and I said, then feel it. Honor that sadness. It's understandable. You have a heart. Of course you feel sad at what is happening. But then take a nice deep breath and realize, remember, the way I phrased it for her, we come from a Christian tradition. I said, we know that the Lord works in mysterious ways. So we could say the universal forces work in mysterious ways. We don't know how it all turns out. Maybe we'll live long enough to know. But right now, there's deep suffering. We do what we can, and we don't let our sadness and our fear deplete our energy. We need our energy. For each of you who's taken time to spend your Sunday by coming to a day of mindfulness, you obviously are people who understand that and are ready to step up. And of course, you're wanting to know, how do I do that? Well, one way we do that is by being in community, realizing that we don't ever do anything all by ourselves. No matter how lonely we might feel, it's an illusion. We're not alone. We're not alone. So my own daughter said, yes, I'm looking forward to going to church tomorrow morning, her Sunday morning. We have found a wonderful church there that speaks our language, who loves Thich Nhat Hanh, who talks about presence and mindfulness and even sings some of our Plum Village songs. A very large church. It was a delight to find that. We didn't know it existed there. It's part of the Bible Belt there. It was quite a surprise. So things have changed. Things are always changing. You know, we might have an idea that something is like that. Oh, it was like that 20 years ago, and I'm sure it hasn't changed a bit. Don't get caught in that. Don't get caught in that. We need to always remember the truth of impermanence. That not only are things changing always, but they will change as well. One of our monastic brothers at Deer Park wrote a song that I love. It's on YouTube. It won't always be this way. It won't always be this way. That, of course, is also true of the happy moments. It won't always be that way either. But we do our best to just be present with whatever and thankful for whatever is happening around us. Realizing that we might not understand in the moment, why is this happening? Why does it appear to have to happen like this? We don't know. But Ty has written a book, In Love and Trust, and I really like that, and I like signing my name like that now. In love and trust. Loving and trusting. Some of what I want to talk about as a way to cultivate the capacity to look with the eyes of love is our inner child. You know, I've talked about the inner child a number of times with the Singapore Sangha and KL as well. But whatever I say today might be a little different from anything I've said before, or you will hear it differently because you're not the same person you were when you heard it the last time. So don't ever fall into the trap of believing, oh, I've already heard that. You might have heard it, but did you feel it or did you understand it in the same way? So maybe today you'll understand it differently. That we each have that child inside of us. She is a part of me. She's not exactly me, but she's not exactly not me. She's a part of me. We recognize that what are we but a process? Always changing, flowing with life. But that child is there. And as you know, Ty wrote a wonderful book, and he taught on it at the winter retreat in 2010 and 11. So he wrote the book in 2010, or it was published then, Reconciliation, Healing the Inner Child. It's a powerful book. It has some wonderful practices in it for how to pay attention to that child, how to help that child to heal, but to realize that she's never really, no matter how I can attest to this, no matter how long you live, lifespan, is she's always there, and she's always a child. And so she's that childlike part, that child part of our psyche. And so she needs attention. She needs daily attention. And she helps us to heal because she calls our attention like a baby. You know, she's crying. She calls our attention to something that we need to pay attention to. And then we realize, oh, this is an opportunity for healing. So we can, she helps us to, or he, they, help us to connect the present moment to the past. So, you know, in what I learned in psychotherapy, the language was, so the event in the present moment, it's happening now, but whatever our response to it, if it is painful in particular, is rooted in the past. So, and nowadays we hear the word triggered. We hear that word a lot. So something happens and it triggers in us a memory that may not be so conscious, but the child knows it. The child feels it. So it's something gets triggered, something that happened long ago, perhaps, that's buried deeply in our consciousness. We aren't in touch with it enough to be able to talk about it, to verbalize something, but the feeling is there, and very often it's fear. So if we don't feel safe in any given circumstance, yes, it could be that there are fearful things happening around us, and so fear can be, the energy of fear and that feeling of fear can be a wake-up call, you might say, like pay attention. Pay attention before you step in front of that car. You feel something and, oh, wow, I almost stepped in front of a car. Or something. Or maybe having to do with food. I ate something this week that I knew, I had a little feeling about that, and I ignored it and ate it anyway, and I suffered for a few hours in the middle of the night. I'm lactose intolerant, but I like to forget that sometimes, and I do forget that sometimes. So maybe I've had enough events in the last 3 months that I won't forget that again. But the child is communicating with us. And very often the child is in charge. The child is running our life, and we don't realize that. That's often when we're on autopilot. We're not really being present. When we feel that energy of fear come up, we attend first to the child. We talk to her. We talk to him. We say, I'm here. I'm an adult now. I understand that you're afraid, but we can handle this. We have a sangha. We have a path. I'm not afraid. I know you are. I know that you suffered. But I'm here to take care of you now. And those things aren't happening to you now. They happened to you a long time ago. They're in the past. And so much of what we fear right now hasn't happened at all. It's only something going on in our minds, but it hasn't happened. We're already projecting into the future. So we want to pay attention to that. Are we doing that? Are we projecting into the future? Oh, what if? What if this, what if we have one of those big rainfalls and we have flooding like they had in Indonesia and Vietnam and Thailand, and also in Malaysia, parts of Malaysia this year. What if that happens in Singapore or wherever you're sitting? We're projecting. And if it's true, which I believe that it is, that we create our experience and we create our world with our thoughts, with our actions, and thoughts are actions, then to let our minds just imagine awful, terrible things happening in the future is actually contributing to bringing those things about. So there is a saying that therapists use, we have a way of bringing to us the very thing we fear the most, because we spend time imagining that it will happen. So once again, we're back at what is the most important thing we can do is practice being in the present moment, practice breathing, practice being mindful. Practice slowing down. Practice looking at the, yes, I don't always read the chats because I find them disruptive and I can't see them very well anyway. But on the other hand, I'm always afraid that maybe there's something about the technology. So there's the fear, you see. So I have the fear that I'm not doing something right, or that the technology that I'm talking and you all aren't hearing me or something. But that's not the case. So let's just take a nice deep breath and come back to the present moment. So when we feel afraid or we feel distracted, or we can come back to the breath and we can pay attention, feel the energy, and I'm doing this right now. I'm feeling the energy in my feet. I'm aware of my hands. I can feel a little tingling in my lips, around my mouth. So what are you feeling? It's very, very, very important and very helpful to come back to the body and the breath. That grounds us. We use that word, grounding. That grounds us in the present moment. When we feel fear, we've lost the present moment. We're no longer in the present moment. We're caught in a feeling. So those are just some practices. But to understand that the inner child, healing the inner child, is so, so important. As I thought about the Sangha this morning, sitting as I was having my coffee, I was thinking, oh yes, I'm going to be on with Sangha. And nothing makes me happier than to be with all of you. And I was remembering some of the families. And a couple years ago when we started having family Sangha, and I was remembering Brother Jalen. That's Brother Free and Sister Sharon's son. And I was remembering Brother Martin. That's Arnie and Brother Arnie and Sister Helen's son, older son. I know they have another one, Alexandra. I don't know him very well. Sister Michelle. And I thought how we don't do this in the West. We don't call each other, except in some fundamentalist religions, we don't call each other brother and sister in the West, in spiritual circles, as we do here. I love it, and I think it's quite important. And I think it's important to see our children around us as much more than those little children they appear to be, because they are much more. So I really think it's quite important to refer to Jalen as Brother Jalen, as Brother Martin, Sister Michelle, because they're teaching us a lot. They have a lot of innate wisdom, just as this child who's still inside of me is teaching me still teaching me. And I found myself thinking about how, maybe some of you have heard me say this in the past, how I don't drown in this regret, but I'm aware that I have the regret. How I wish that when I had my two sons and daughter, a few years apart, each of them, so they were all small at the same time, I had not met anything like our practice. I had not met teachers that I had met teachers, but I had not begun to really wake up yet. I had an inkling that there was something else, enough that I was not ever quite satisfied with my life, because I knew there was something else, and that I was not living my life in the way that I wanted to live it. But I even wasn't sure what that was, what was possible. But looking back and thinking of family life, like, oh, if I could do that again, so I want you to do it for me. If I could be a young mother again with a family, I would want to sit in a circle with my children, whether it's a toddler, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, doesn't matter. A baby in arms, that we sit together in a circle deliberately every week, and we learn to listen to each other and learn how to have respect for each other and learn to look with the eyes of love at each other as a family, as a community. So that's your first community, is the family. Very important to pay attention to the family. That's our first community. First it's here. You know, we do our inner work individually. But in these times now we recognize, and this is I'm paraphrasing something I read that somewhere, that Ty says, he's talking about the importance of community, and he's talking about, are we content to be a full-time individual with a part-time community life, or are we ready to step up and be a full-time member of the community and a part-time individual? So putting the focus, he was probably talking to the West, but Westerners, but I think that is absolutely an appropriate message for our cultures here. We need community. In fact, Ty says that, he said 20 plus years ago in a talk that I was privileged to have a part in editing, a talk that he gave at the turn of the millennia, I think, where he said that community is absolutely essential if we're going to have 100 years. And he was saying that about this century, in this century. So it's kind of a now or never. So that's the reality. We have a chance. This is what the Fire Horse is all about this year. So we have a chance to transform, to heal, to pay attention, to spend enough time sitting under a tree or walking beside a pond or sitting on your balcony without the phone, without anything, just sitting and breathing, enjoying the space around you, enjoying the nature if you can find it. And I know all of you can. What is going on inside? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I to do next? Am I to rest more? Am I sleeping well? Am I taking care of myself? Am I looking at my loved ones with eyes of love? And what does that mean? What does that really mean? It means, do I take time to listen and understand my loved ones? After all, they're not the same people they were. They are not the partner is not the same partner he or she was when you married or when you committed to each other. You're changing all the time. We're changing all the time. We are a process. So it requires attention to ourselves. How am I changing? How do I want to change? Am I going in the direction I want to go in? Am I supporting myself with enough rest, enough sleep, the right food, not eating ice cream when I know that I'm lactose intolerant? Am I taking care of my health? It's important. I cannot be here without a body. I can't practice walking meditation if I can't walk. Am I taking care of my spiritual life Do I really realize that I am not just an employee or the head of a company or the whatever it is that we do to make a living? That is not who I am. That's not it. That's not why I'm here. You know that old saying of no one on their deathbed has ever been heard to say, oh, I wish I'd spent more time at the office. No one ever says that. No. They say, I wish I had spent more time with my loved ones. I wish I had paid more attention. I wish I had walked more in the forest. I wish I had been present. I wish I could smell the smell of pine needles right now. Someone gave me some soap from Singapore that actually smells like pine trees. So actually, I get to bring up that memory and enjoy that memory. I'm going to the U.S. In a few days. I've been surprised, actually, at the number of people in the practice who have said to me, oh, I'm really inspired to hear that you are doing that. I've let go of that thing that I thought I had to have, that I've wanted so badly, have wanted for several years, to go to Plum Village, France, to see the elder nuns and be with them again. And, you know, I'm not as young as I used to be, so it could be I would only have that one chance to go. And, but I have a much beloved family member who received a very serious diagnosis in December and a terminal prognosis with no treatment really that will not even perhaps slow that down. And she doesn't have a path. She doesn't have a teacher except me. And she is open. She is open to hearing me. She's one of the family members that will listen and say, wow. Yeah, so I'm going to support her. So I'm going to, she has a wonderful sense of humor. She said to me that she's not afraid to die, but she is afraid of the pain. And so I want to go, and I told her I'm coming. I wanted her to know that I'm coming because of her, but I don't want it to feel overwhelming either. So I said what is really true. I said, we're going to sit together and we're going to laugh. We're going to laugh a lot. We're going to feel some joy. We're going to talk about some things. So I can't wait. I can't wait, Aunt Trishie. Yeah. So I don't know what happens, but this seems to be the year for me for family. And so I've let go of my attachment that things have to be a certain way. And I can tell you I feel very free. I feel very free realizing it's really okay. I don't need to do it, I might have to let go of the attachment to the flying to South Carolina on Monday of next week because they're having a huge snowstorm. Huge, and it's disrupting airline traffic all for at least half of the country. So I might have to let go of the attachment to arriving and where I want to arrive next week. But yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm not concerned about that. So letting go of the belief that things have to be a certain way, or that my partner needs to be a certain way, or that my colleague needs to do things a certain way. When we can let go of all of that and just see every day, not just the human beings with eyes of love, but everything around us, and learn to really appreciate our life as it is. Whether it's the plants on the balcony, the flowers. I remember Sister Lay, all of you, most of you, many of you knew Sister Lay, and what joy she took from the roses. When she had a very, she had gotten a similar diagnosis as my niece, and I remember hearing her say at her 41st birthday party, a small luncheon that her roommate gave for her. And Brother Will was there. We went together in Singapore. And she gave the most wonderful talk. And she said, she had received that diagnosis 10 months earlier. And she said, I wouldn't change anything. She said, the last 10 months, these 10 months have been the happiest months of my life because I have never been so alive. I have never felt so alive. So what was she saying? She was saying, everything is so precious. Now that I know that I am at death's door, that I'm leaving this body, that's what it took, and that's usually what it takes for most of us. But it doesn't have to be that way. But for most of us it is. Because we just keep thinking, oh, we have time, and I'll take time to sit with my loved one. This week's just too busy. Or Brother Jalen, or, whatever the child, or yes, yet later, we'll talk later. I'm busy right now. She didn't do that. She got that diagnosis, and suddenly she looked at everything with eyes of love. She saw how precious everything is, all these conditions around us, all these gifts that have been given to us. So when we look like that, well, there's hardly any space to look at what isn't working. In other words, the negative, the so-called negative. We're so busy looking at the flower that the weed gets no attention and gets no energy and doesn't thrive. So wherever we put our energy, that is what grows and grows and gets bigger and bigger. So we put our energy into what we want and what we love. For some, that might sound, there's a phrase, Pollyannish. I don't remember where that comes from. Pollyanna was somebody in a story that I guess just, I don't know. So some people who are quite attached to the logical, analytical mind can find statements like that to be, oh really, and are disbelieving. But to me, it's totally logical, totally makes sense to me that where I put my attention, that's my love. And where I put love, love will grow. And if I spend all my time looking at what's not working, that's all I will see. And I'll miss those roses. I won't see them at all. I'm too busy thinking about the thorns. So, I don't know. I don't know where we are right now in terms of time, but I know that we like to have Q&A. So I think we probably have, maybe about 30 minutes for Q&A. Is that right, Brother Ivan? I don't hear you, Brother Ivan.
Dear Sister Trish, can you hear us now?
Mm-hmm.
The microphone was off.
That's a good reason.
Sister Trish, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so dear friends, now it's the Q&A. So for friends in Singapore, so please come to the front because the camera is here. So we want Sister Trish to be able to see you. If not, she'll be wondering who is the pretty person behind the sound. And similarly for friends in KL, Day of Mindfulness, please do the same. When you need to ask a question, please come forward. We would like to encourage you to have to ask your questions courageously. So please come forward so that you can be seen clearly. And friends online, it's very easy. You can just bow in, and then you'll be seen quite clearly. I would like to request support from the Malaysia Sangha that after each question and answer, can you invite this one sound of the bell from your side? Okay, I see Sister Connie with 2 thumbs up, so that's okay. Yes, so I think so we are ready to receive questions from either Singapore friends, Malaysia friends, or friends online. Yeah, so when you're ready, please come forward and put your question. And we also like to remind all friends that a good question doesn't need to be too long. It's good to be specific and ask straight to the point. Somebody online, I think. Yes, please bow in. We will pin you on the screen.
Hi, I'm not sure if people can hear me. Okay, thank you. I have a question about how do I feel grounded during a transition phase where everything is really changing and I'm moving to different places and there's no Sangha nearby, and yeah, I'm still finding my community. Thank you.
Sister Germaine, thank you for that question. Yeah, that's a good question. Because that's right. It's that time. It seems to be happening with a lot of people that we're moving, changing, going through a lot of transition from one place to another externally, but maybe also internally. And so, yes, it's absolutely essential to spend time with yourself, with your breath, with your body, with the feelings in your body. So, I keep a yoga mat on my floor, and I did that years ago when I was working. I kept a yoga mat right beside my desk on the floor, and just several times, whenever throughout the day, I would lie down on that, just 5 minutes, lie down and relax my body. So, we have total relaxation, which you'll be experiencing. Well, you're online, so I'm not sure about that. I take that back. But you can do your own. You can do your own at home. And so, yes, you spend time with your body. Pay attention to your toes. What's going on in your toes? What's going on? Yeah. So it's not just about trying to, feel your heartbeat. Yes, that's nice too. But it's when we really spend time with the body, we begin to feel the energy that's running there. There's energy. But we have to spend time with it to really to notice it. And if it manifests as something intense, which the habit in our cultures, we are conditioned to call that pain. And then if it's really, this is happening with my niece, she worked in the medical community, and so she was just 30 years of that. And so she tends to resist, oh, it's a pain. But our teachers, I love it. Ty said, it's really okay to feel a little pain. My children's father was a medical doctor and actually had a lot of wisdom years and years ago about that. He would say, don't be so quick to want to take an aspirin. Just be with it. Just be with it a little bit. It's the body just talking to you. So telling you something, you know, don't try to mask it. Don't run away from it. Because what happens? We try to run away from something. We're resisting it. And then it just gets bigger. It gets bigger. It gets more intense, whatever it is. So learn to be with things as they are, whatever it is, and just take a breath and come back to the body. That's the grounding. In touch with Mother Earth. You feel your feet on the floor. Yeah, you can do that. I'm going to be doing that too. I'm making a move. And and it's, I'm feeling quite enthusiastic and energized at the prospect. Yeah. But I know that I need to pay attention to my health. Don't forget to eat and properly. Don't forget to be kind to your body. Get enough rest. Drink enough water. Don't let your normal routine fly out the window because now you're in a different house or on your way from A to B or something. Try to keep that same practice, being with yourself, breathing, paying attention to yourself and your loved ones around you. I hope that's helpful. Yeah. You can do it.
Can we listen to one sound of the bell?
Dear brother, it might be easier if I invite the bell online. So it might be
Yes, please.
all right. Please mute yourself. There's a lot of echo. So dear Sangha, let's listen to a sound of the bell before the next question.
We would like to have to ask a question. Sister Trish, are you hearing me? Okay. I think I have a tendency to deliberately ignore the inner child of myself and how I engage or in touch with this inner child. to know the need of my inner child.
Volunteer to babysit some children. Can you hear that? So it's true. Well, the volunteering to babysit is not necessary, but however, you can put yourself in situations where there are children and watch those children, little children, and watch those children. That energy is contagious. That totally uninhibited joy for life that children can feel is contagious. You've heard me say, I think, that I feel I'm at least 30 years younger than I really am because of my association with all of you. You aren't children, but you're much younger than I am. and that energy, so it's like we're exchanging energy. I mean, it's not like we are. We're exchanging energy all the time. That's what we're each made of. Everything is energy. And so you want to feel young, put yourself in young energy. And then because you're doing it deliberately as an adult, you are putting yourself into it, but with the children, for example, but you also are a bit of an observer. So you don't lose yourself and, jump off the balcony the way a child might when no one's looking, take those chances that are dangerous. But that is key. I was very fortunate that when I was really in the midst of psychotherapy as a client, which I did for 10 years as a client, and the focus was healing the inner child, family of origin therapy. So not just paying attention to the child, but understanding how the child came to be within the system of the family of origin. Because, of course, the family is a system. And so there's a lot of literature on that, it's extremely interesting and very helpful to do some of that reading or podcast or whatever and understand that, for all of us to understand how we fit into the system. And then we don't only understand ourselves better, but we understand our siblings, our parents. We become like archaeologists in a way, but we're digging up our own family ancestral bones, you might say. But I was very fortunate in those years because the project that I worked on for 5 years took me to a lot of preschool classrooms as an observer. I wasn't a teacher, but the project that I worked on I was working with the teachers, and so I was in the middle of the children, and my guide, my root guru, my psychotherapist teacher said to me at the time when I first started that job, she said, "Oh, this is going to be so healing for you, Trish." Because there I was in the middle of this energy of these 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. And then, of course, what did that do? But it brought the child out in me as well. So then you get in touch with that child. And sometimes he might feel joyful, and sometimes he might be feeling sad. Because no matter how wonderful parents are, and as Ty says, all parents love their children, but sometimes parents don't know how to be parents. We're not born knowing how. We tend to parent the way we were parented. And so it's not about blaming anybody, but it is about claiming the truth. of our own childhood and the childhood of our moms and our dads. Yeah, and also our siblings, because our sibling, if that sibling is a few years older or a few years younger, he or she does not have the same mother that I had. He or she does not have the same father that I had, because they are a process. People are always changing, and circumstances around them change. So much to understand, but that's what we're here for. As Ty says, understanding is love's other word. To understand is to love, because we've paid enough attention. Yeah, and our presence alone is love. So I hope that's helpful, Brother Tom. Good luck. So if I had young children right now, when this is over, I would go straight to Brother Tom and say, Brother Tom, are you free on Sunday afternoons for an hour or two? So you might have to make an effort, but now there are lots of witnesses, so I think that you will have a lot of support in being with young children. Thank you for that.
Okay, we have one sound bell.
Hi, Sister Trish. Thank you very much for your sharing earlier. My name is Charlotte. I'm asking the question on letting go. I can see letting go is very powerful for inner peace and freedom, but it's very hard to let go, to be unattached to outcomes. My question is it a mind thing that you let go? Is it starts in the mind, or is there a process that you go through in your body or your mind to let go? Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. That was my sister's name, my only blood sister, Charlotte. I always loved that name. I called her Cubby. She was 10 years older than I. I guess I couldn't say Charlotte when I was a young child. I can tell you this, that letting go, so I'm thinking about this year and having let go of my deep desire that I had heard myself voicing over the last couple of years. Oh, I wish I could go to Plum Village. Just one more time, Plum Village, France. Just one more time. While I still have the energy for traveling. And now I've totally let that go. And it doesn't feel like a sacrifice at all. So it's not, I've truly let it go. It's like, whatever. I'm really fine. In fact, I'm pretty certain in my mind, I'd say I'm 99.999% sure I am not going. And why? So how did that come about? Because it was replaced with something else that felt more right, where I felt, first it was my niece. That was the first thing that happened in early December. She let me know that she and her husband had gone to the doctor, not expecting what they heard, and she was like, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you this bad news," and she also in the next sentence said, "And I feel so bad for Alfie." That's her husband. So that was her first, and then she said, "But I have stage 4 and all that." So. that just took precedent. It's not a mind thing. It wasn't. I didn't have to think twice about that. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I need to go home and be of support to the family. Now, I didn't go right away. It didn't feel like that kind of an emergency. It might not have been good for her for me to just drop my life and jump on a plane. That would have perhaps even discouraged her or frightened her. I don't know that I thought all that through. But somehow I just knew I don't need to change everything about this month. I was going to the holiday retreat, and I had made commitments there, and I was happy at all of that. And I knew I also needed that support. I needed that energy. And so I went to the holiday retreat in Plum Village, Thailand. And then other things have happened in my life that, so I've too much to go into, but just to say that it's, so I'm going to be moving from this house, from Vietnam. I've been here 21 years, and we are definitely moving. And so that has been a process of, whoa, we know we're moving, but where are we moving to? We don't know. And then we got very clear, we just really don't want to leave Southeast Asia. It's not about not being there, it's about not leaving here. We love it here. When the we is my elder son, who's been here almost 20 years. So we just feel so at home here. And so we'll be moving. And so we've announced that and to our landlord, and we'll be out of here in July. So I will be busy with that. So yes, it could happen that maybe I still go to France. I don't know, but it's all right with me either way. I feel happy. I feel happy with the decisions. I feel really happy to be going home to be with my niece. I'm grateful for this path and for the Sangha and the understanding from the teachers that I've received. I don't have any fear about that. I feel I can support her. I won't be sitting there crying. 30 years ago, I wouldn't have been of any help. I would have been too just undone by it all. I think I wouldn't have. I didn't have enough stability to be that supportive. Now I do, and I know that when she passes, she's not going far. She won't go far. She'll always be here, and so I have an acceptance of all of how life works, and that death is a part of life, and I accept that, and I'm not afraid of that, whether it's my loved ones or me. So remembering that the mind is in every cell of the body, so I suppose it's been both mental and visceral somehow. It's just felt natural. It's nothing I had to put my mind to and say, oh, now let's see, how can I let go of that? No, it's not like that. So this practice, our life, yes, we use our intelligence and we have a structure for ourselves to support ourselves, to meditate, to be mindful, to not rush anymore, to let go of that and discover the beauty of missing out on a lot of things, realizing I really don't have to try to be everywhere at once. I don't have to try to attend to everything that happens. I don't need to be in the middle of everything. I'm just living my life. And it's so freeing. So I never feel, if I ever have a question, sometimes it's, am I practicing well enough? I'll ask myself, because I just feel so content and relaxed and happy, generally very happy. Content is more like it, and with moments of real joy. And the joy can come from just the silliest thing, in a moment. So, yeah. So we don't have to see life as some problem to solve. It's not a problem. It's just our time to be fully alive, if we can do that. I want to read, I've got a feeling this might be the end, I don't know. I want to read something that I propped here because I don't trust my memory to quote Thai exactly on this, and it's just too important. So if everyone can hear me. Thai says, "The great task of our time is to create eco-conscious, beloved communities, loving circles of friendship and care that can express our highest human aspirations for love, understanding, and cooperation. Communities that connect all beings beyond race, religion, color, gender, beliefs, or creed, in harmony with Mother Earth herself." And you all who live there in Singapore and Malaysia, and I'm sure this is happening in other places that I'm unaware of, where some of you might be sitting, those of you online, but you already have a big start on that over there in JB with the Little Wild and what you all have been building there. And I know it's been spearheaded by Brother Will and people around him, but it's a Sangha effort. And that's exactly, when I read this, I thought of that community there at A Little Wild. That's exactly what's happening there. So you all are off to a good start on doing exactly what Thai says is so absolutely essential in this century. So I don't know if we have time for more questions, but I'm here if I'm available if you are.
I listen to one sound the bell. I think we can have time for another question, and just like to check if the Malaysian Sangha, with such a group there, do you have a question that you would like to come forward? So the Malaysian Sangha practices very well, no questions at all. In that case, we open to the floor, friends online and friends in Joyful Garden Sangha as well. Okay, please come forward. A friend in Singapore would like to ask a question.
Yeah, good morning, Sister Trish. I'm Chang and I'm coming from Vietnam. Yeah. So my takeaways from all the sharing is that it will take time and practice to really learn how to letting go of the personal attachment. I tried to practice myself, I think, for several years, but there's many times that I still forget how to come back to my own self and letting go. So I want to ask if you have any tips to remind ourselves about the inner peace and the practice. Yeah. That's the question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sister Chen, for that question. Yeah, I'm sure that's in the hearts of quite a few people in the Sangha. It is about practice. For me, this is my personal experience. I made a conscious decision to simplify my life. Now, a lot of people might look at my life and say, well, it doesn't appear to be very simple. I mean, you live in another country, you live in Vietnam, you fly off to Thailand for a retreat, you fly off to Singapore for a retreat or to stay for some weeks, or you fly to KL, and then every decade or so you're in France. But I'm telling you, it's a simple life. Because there's a lot of time in between all of that. And even during that, so it's a conscious decision to just want life to be simpler. So I spend a lot of time at home. It's a process. Everything's a process. But I knew in 1999, I was ready to let go of my quote-unquote social life. So, yeah, the social life. The life of, it didn't have anything to do with the spiritual path. It was just, groups of people, wonderful people, I'm sure, whatever, people I'd been around, friends I'd known forever, people I grew up with. But just realizing, no, I'd rather stay home on a Friday night. So I started living my life. Actually, I started doing this in 1996, and I have letters to prove that I wrote home from India and said, I've come to the conclusion that I no longer, I want to live my life deliberately. That was the word I used. I had not met Plum Village yet. But I knew that I was no longer willing to go along, to just go along. Oh, I'm not doing anything else on Friday night. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Lunch today. Okay, whatever. Yeah. I started being much more aware of my energy and wanting to protect that and wanting to just hold on to it and not just and wear myself out on things that weren't important to me. So I let go of a lot of the old way of thinking. Yeah. So it's the simple life. I love the song. It's my favorite song. If I can swallow enough here, I might sing it for you. Although I get my joy from the simple things coming from the earth. I get my joy from the sun that shines and the water speaks to me. Listen to the wind and listen to the water. Hear what it says. Sing, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. So that's it. I get my joy from the simple things coming from the earth. So I no longer need a lot of entertainment. It's been a process, but not a huge. I mean, it was a process getting to that point, but I got there a long time ago, and I walked away from a lot. I left an entire community. I suppose it was why when I got to Vietnam thinking I was coming for 3 months, all of a sudden it was like, well, I can live here. This is what feels like home. This is where I want to be. This is the life I want. It's so simple. I don't do, of course, there are 64 embassies or something like that here in Hanoi. I don't go to those things. At first, because I was the new foreigner in town, I was invited to go to stuff. And I realized, no, this is just a repetition of what I was doing back in South Carolina. It's a waste of my time and energy. I don't know. At the end of the night, what's happened? Nothing. Who remembers what anybody said? Nothing. So, yeah, I get my joy from walking down the alley in the early morning and meeting up with the women in the wet market and finding fresh green beans and or whatever it is, the tomatoes are wonderful today. Or yeah, I get my joy from that. I get my joy from that. I mean, those are things from the earth. Those are the simple things. So pay attention to the simple life, and notice when you that habit energy of the seductive life is very seductive. My son and I were talking about large cities, or and how yes, large cities have a lot to offer. Museums, a lot of culture. Beautiful, a lot of beautiful. But on the other hand, they're very seductive. That's why Ty told me to go live in the Central, and I did that for a lot of years. I lived in a small town, Hoi An, when it was really small. Simple life. Where here in Hanoi, it's easy to get caught up in social things, or to go shopping. The shopping. Or to go to Bangkok. Oh, the food, the food, the food. So everything is there to seduce you, to take you out of yourself, out of the present moment, and appeal to that, that conditioning that says, oh, if I could wear that, or if I could have that, or if I could, oh, then I'd be so happy. But same about jobs, your work. To pay, I mean, that can happen anywhere, wherever you're working. To pay attention. Don't let yourself get seduced into, oh, well, okay, oh, they're offering me a bigger job, more money. Oh, with the more money we can buy, whatever. Now I find myself working to pay for that. And I don't have time for anything now. I'm so tired. I don't have time to go to Joyful Garden Sangha. I just want to sleep in on Sunday. It's my one day. Yeah, so pay attention. Yeah, don't let yourself be seduced by life. There's a lot out there to seduce us, and a lot of people make a lot of money seducing us in that business, marketing, advertising. Yeah. Consumption. So pay attention to consumption. So I hope that was helpful. There's probably a lot more that could be said about that, but you can find it or talk about it in your Dharma sharing this afternoon.
Can we listen to one sound the bell? Dear friends, dear Sangha, we are very grateful to Sister Trish once again for spending time with us. It's 1.5 hours, but I trust that she said she always loved to see us. So yes, this invitation has been nourishing for her as well. And recognizing that she's going to travel to the US soon. Yeah, this year will be quite a galloping year for her. Maybe we can offer a song to her. No coming, no going. How about that? Yeah, because there's a lot of coming and going in her life right now. So we offer that song. Ready? No coming, no going, nor after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free because I am in you and you are in me because I am in you and you are in me. One more time. No coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free because I am in you and you are in me because I am in you and you are in me. Before we lock off, maybe I'll move the camera around to let Sister Trish see who is in the Sangha house. Brother David, the IT guy, the skillful hands behind, and all the friends here. Can see? Okay, so, hey, Sister Trish, can you remember some of them? I think you do.
I remember all of you.
Okay, we will do a memory test later.
I'm a super ager. I have a great memory for the moment.
Okay, so dear
Goodbye,
Malaysia,
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, dear Malaysia Sangha, please enjoy the rest of the day in their mindfulness in Malaysia, and friends online. Wish you a wonderful Sunday afternoon. So we'll meet again. We'll meet Sister Trish somehow, somewhere, sometime. Okay, thank you.